I used to think family meant unconditional love until I heard my brother's voice through my headphones, crystal clear despite the slight static of the recording. She's just a crippled investment risk anyway. Who's she going to tell? My name is Malia, and I'm the investment risk he was talking about. The sister he put in a wheelchair 5 years ago when he wrapped his brand new BMW around a tree while high on cocaine. The family burden they never thought would fight back. I discovered the missing money on a Tuesday morning, the kind of morning where everything feels slightly off, like a picture frame tilted just enough to notice. My settlement account, $250,000 meant for my long-term care, had dwindled to just under $3,000. "Mom," I called out, wheeling myself into the kitchen where she was preparing her morning coffee. "There must be some mistake with the bank. Most of my settlement money is gone." She didn't turn around immediately. When she did, her face wore that practiced expression of gentle concern she'd perfected over the years. "Oh, honey, your father and I meant to discuss this with you. We had to make some temporary arrangements." "Temporary arrangements?" "It's a family investment," she said, stirring her coffee with mechanical precision. "Your brother's startup is about to take off. The returns will be incredible, enough to take care of all of us." The room suddenly felt too small, too warm. "You took my settlement money without asking me." "Borrowed," she corrected, her voice sharp despite the smile. "Don't be dramatic, Malia. We are your parents. We know what's best." "I want to talk to Dad." "He's at work, dear. Besides, it's already done. The papers were signed months ago." "What papers?" She waved her hand dismissively. "Legal things. Your father handled it all." I felt sick. "Those were my medical funds, and they'll be repaid tenfold once Nest Edge goes public. Lyle has meetings with major investors next week." She touched my shoulder. "You need to think about the family for once, not just yourself." I forced myself to breathe slowly, to keep my voice steady. "You're right. I'm sorry. I was just surprised." The relief on her face was instant. She launched into another praise-filled monologue about Lyle's business genius. But I wasn't listening anymore. I was thinking about the small voice recorder I'd bought last month after overhearing one too many whispered conversations. That evening, while everyone was distracted by Lyle's impromptu dinner visit, I positioned myself near the family room couch. "Could someone help me transfer to the sofa? I'd like to sit with everyone." Dad grumbled, but helped me move. In the process, I slipped the recorder between the cushions. Then I listened to them talk about me like I wasn't there. "The prototype demo is next month," Lyle announced, sprawled in his usual armchair. "We're looking at a Series A round by summer." "That's wonderful, honey," Mom beamed. "See, Malia? Your money is in good hands." I smiled and nodded, playing the role they expected. The compliant daughter, the grateful sister. Later that night, after they'd gone to bed, I retrieved the recorder and plugged in my headphones. Their true voices filled my ears. "She's getting suspicious," Dad muttered. "It doesn't matter," Lyle replied. "She's just a crippled investment risk anyway. Who's she going to tell? Besides, all the paperwork's ironclad. I had my lawyer check twice." "Your brother's right," Mom added. "She needs us. Where else would she go?" I stopped the recording, my hands shaking. 5 years of pity smiles, of "we know best," of watching them bend over backwards to protect their precious son while treating me like a broken doll. It all crystallized into something hard and cold in my chest. They thought they had me trapped. The disabled daughter, dependent and docile, living in their spare room because who else would take care of her? They never bothered to look closer, to see past the wheelchair to the person watching, learning, and recording. I plugged my phone into the charger and opened my contacts. Greta would still be awake. She always worked late at the law firm. My finger hovered over her name as Lyle's words echoed in my head. Who's she going to tell? I pressed call. It was time they learned that investment risks can bite back. Greta, I need your help, and I need you to record everything I'm about to say. Let me get this straight, Greta said, spreading bank statements across her desk. They transferred your settlement money through 3 different accounts before dumping it into Nest Edge? I nodded, watching her piece together the paper trail I'd gathered over the past week. They got creative with it. Small amounts at first, then larger transfers disguised as medical equipment purchases. And this is your signature? She held up a document authorizing the transfers. No, I've never seen that paper before today. Greta's expression darkened. That's forgery. They forged your signature on legal documents, Malia. The revelation should have shocked me, but somehow it didn't. Maybe because I was too busy remembering another betrayal, 5 years earlier, when they'd all agreed to lie about the accident. He was going too fast, I told the police officer from my hospital bed. Lyle was driving. He'd been drinking, maybe more, but Mom was already shaking her head, tears streaming down her face. No, Malia's confused from the medication. Lyle wasn't even there. She took the car without permission. We've been trying to stop her from driving since her seizures started. I didn't have seizures. Never had. But by the time I was coherent enough to fight back, the narrative was set in stone. Poor Malia, they said. Such a shame about her reckless behavior. Greta's voice pulled me back to the present. Earth to Malia? You zoned out for a minute there. Sorry, just remembering. Well, remember this instead. We've got them. She tapped the papers. Bank records don't lie. Neither do voice recordings. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Lyle's having a small business dinner tonight. Wear something nice. Perfect timing, I said, showing Greta the message. Want to hear what a Nest Edge pitch sounds like? The dinner was exactly what I expected. Lyle holding court at the head of the table, Mom hovering proudly, Dad nodding along as his golden boy spouted tech buzzwords. Nest Edge isn't just disrupting the market, Lyle announced to the small gathering of family friends and potential investors. We're revolutionizing how people think about home automation. My recorder was running in my jacket pocket. Every word, every promise, every lie, all documented. And your initial funding? Asked Mr. Peterson, a friend of Dad's who owned a local construction company. Family investment, Lyle said smoothly. We believe in keeping things close to home. I couldn't help myself. Really close, I added. Right down to the medical settlement money. The table went quiet. Mom's fork clattered against her plate. Medical settlement? Mr. Peterson looked confused. Malia's just confused. Dad cut in quickly. The medication, you know. I'm not confused at all, I said clearly. Would you like to see the bank statements? That's enough. Mom stood up, her face flushed. Malia isn't feeling well. I'll help her to her room. Later, Dad stormed into my bedroom. What the hell was that about? Just telling the truth. Isn't that what families do? You ungrateful little... He caught himself, lowering his voice. Everything we've done has been for this family. Your brother has a real chance at success. With my money, It was a family decision. Funny, I don't remember being part of that family decision. He leaned close, his voice a harsh whisper. Listen carefully. You live in our house. We take care of you. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. I met his gaze. Maybe the hand shouldn't steal from me. After he left, I sent the dinner recording to Greta. Her response came quickly. Holy shit! You know this could bury them, right? I did know. Just like I knew the accident report was buried somewhere in the police archives. Just like I knew about the cocaine baggie Lyle had tossed into the woods before the ambulance arrived, the one Mom found and burned the next day. My phone buzzed again, a message from an unknown number. This is Flynn Tucker. Greta said I should talk to you about Nest Edge's financials. Call me when you can. I smiled, remembering Dad's words. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. But they'd forgotten something important. Even trapped animals will eventually bite back. And I'd been trapped for 5 years, watching, waiting, and learning exactly where to sink my teeth. Nest Edge's office was exactly what you'd expect from a startup running on stolen money. All show, no substance. Glass walls, sleek furniture, and a distinct smell of desperation masked by expensive air fresheners. Malia, what a surprise! Juliana, Lyle's girlfriend and marketing director, rushed to greet me. Lyle didn't mention you were coming by. I thought I'd see what my brother's been up to. I smiled, adjusting my position in the wheelchair. Mind giving me the tour? Juliana's enthusiasm was genuine, if misplaced. She led me through the open-plan office, where 3 developers pretended to look busy. Empty desks lined the walls, props to make the space look fuller than it was. And this is where the magic happens, she said, showing me their prototype smart home hub. We're revolutionizing. Home automation, I know. I touched the device. How many pre-orders do you have? Her smile flickered. Well, we're still in the development phase, but the interest is huge. Really? Because I heard your last investor pulled out. Juliana's professional facade cracked slightly. Who told you that? People talk. I wheeled closer. How long have you gone without a paycheck, Juliana? She glanced around nervously before whispering. 6 weeks. Lyle says the money's coming, but... She straightened up. I shouldn't be telling you this. No, you shouldn't. Lyle's voice cut through the air. He stood in the doorway, his expression dark. Jules, give us a minute. After she left, Lyle closed the door. What are you doing here? Checking on my investment. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. Your investment? That money belongs to the company now. You mean it belongs to you? Same thing. He perched on the edge of a desk. Look, I get it. You're upset, but this is bigger than you. We're about to close a major funding round. Like the one you promised 3 months ago? His eyes narrowed. Been doing your homework, sis? Someone has to. Careful, he warned. You're playing with fire. Funny, that's exactly what Mom said about cocaine and driving. The color drained from his face. That was an accident. Was it? Because I remember you laughing about how fast you could take those curves, right before you wrapped us around that tree. Shut up! Make me. I pulled out my phone. By the way, how would your investors feel about this? I played a recording of him bragging about cooking the books at last week's family dinner. You little bitch. He stepped toward me, then caught himself. Delete that. Already backed up, along with the bank transfers, the The forged documents and that interesting conversation you had with Dad about reverse mortgaging the house, with my name on it. You're bluffing! Try me. The door opened and Juliana poked her head in. Lyle, the developers need you. Something about the code base corrupting? He shot me a final glare before leaving. I waited until his footsteps faded before turning to Juliana. One more question. Does the name Flynn Tucker mean anything to you? She paled. He was supposed to be our angel investor. Pulled out last minute. Lyle was furious. Any idea why? He said something about ethical concerns. She twisted her hands nervously. Listen, I should get back to work. Of course. Thanks for the tour. Outside, I called Greta. You were right. The place is a house of cards. Perfect timing, she replied. Flynn sent over some interesting documents. Turns out Lyle's been shopping the same prototype to different investors, promising each one exclusive rights. Classic Lyle, always playing both sides. There's more. Your parents filed paperwork yesterday. They're trying to make you a co-signer on their new mortgage. Without my knowledge. Again, we can stop it, Greta said. But we need to move fast. Richard wants to meet tomorrow. I watched through the office window as Lyle berated one of the developers. Same old Lyle, always someone else's fault. Tell Richard I'll be there. And Greta! I'm uploading everything to that secure drive you set up. If anything happens to me, this goes nuclear. Nothing's going to happen to you. Maybe not. I started my car's adaptive controls. But my brother wrapped me around a tree once. I'm not taking chances. As I drove away, I caught sight of Lyle watching from the window. He raised his hand in what might have been a wave or a warning. Either way, it was too late. The puppet strings were fraying, and soon they'd learn exactly what happened when you underestimate the quiet one in the wheelchair. The one who remembered everything. Flynn Tucker wasn't what I expected. No power suit, no flashy watch, just a quiet man in jeans and a faded sweater, studying me over his coffee cup. So, you're the sister, he said. We'd met at a small cafe across town, away from prying eyes. I wondered when you'd surface. And you're the investor who got away. After doing my due diligence, he pulled out a tablet. Want to see what scared me off? The next hour was a masterclass in fraud detection. Flynn methodically walked me through Nest Edge's financials, or rather, the elaborate fiction Lyle had created. See these development costs? He pointed to a spreadsheet. They're inflated by about 300%. And these client contracts? Half of them don't exist. What about the prototype? Bought off the shelf from a Chinese manufacturer. They just changed the casing and added some basic coding. He leaned back. But you knew most of this already, didn't you? I needed confirmation. What you need is protection. He slid a business card across the table. This is Sandra Martinez. She specializes in financial crime investigation. Why are you helping me? Flynn's expression hardened. Because 6 months ago, my sister died waiting for insurance money that her husband had invested in a startup. Some things just hit close to home. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Where are you? Family meeting tonight. Important news about the house. They're moving forward with the mortgage, I told Flynn. Using my name. Without your consent. Would be the first time. I showed him the forged documents Greta had found. They have a pattern. Ms. Martinez will want to see these. He stood up. One more thing. Your brother's been approaching my colleagues, using my name as a reference. That sounds like Lyle. I've already warned them, but you should know. He's desperate. Desperate people make mistakes. Back home, the family meeting was in full swing when I arrived. Mom, Dad, and Lyle sat around the dining table, papers spread everywhere. Finally, Dad grumbled. We need your signature on these. I glanced at the mortgage documents. Why? It's a formality, Mom said smoothly. Just some refinancing to help with Nest Edge's expansion. And you need my name because we're family, Lyle cut in. We help each other. Like you helped me that night, leaving me in the car while you hid the evidence. Not this again, Dad snapped. Sign the papers. I pulled out my phone and played Flynn's voice. The company's fundamentally fraudulent. Every investor who's done proper due diligence has walked away. The color drained from Lyle's face. You talked to Flynn. He's not the only one. Want to hear what Juliana told me about those missing paychecks? You little spy, Mom hissed. After everything we've done for you. Done for me? I laughed. You stole my settlement, forged my signature, and now you want to put me on the hook for your debts? It's not theft when it's family, Dad insisted. Tell that to the FBI's Financial Crimes Division. Lyle stood up so fast his chair toppled. You wouldn't dare. Try me. I've got nothing left to lose. I wheeled back slightly. You already took it all. We can work this out, Mom pleaded. We'll pay you back. With what money? The company's broke. The prototypes are fake. It's over. You're lying, Lyle snarled. Model number RT447, I said calmly. That's what's printed inside your revolutionary smart hub. Google it. You can buy them wholesale from Shenzhen for $29 each. Dad's face went purple. Get out. Gladly, but first, I took out my phone and snapped pictures of the mortgage papers. Evidence. Of what? Mom demanded. Attempted fraud? Add it to the pile. I headed for the door. Oh, and Lyle? Flynn says hi. He's been warning people about you. You're making a mistake, Lyle called after me. We're the only ones who will ever take care of you. I stopped at the doorway. No, your mistake was thinking I needed taking care of. I needed justice. And now? I smiled. Now I'm going to take care of myself. As I left, I heard Mom start to cry and Dad begin to shout. But, over it all, I heard the sound of a house of cards finally starting to fall. The fundraising dinner was Lyle's last shot at salvation, and everyone knew it. The country club ballroom buzzed with local investors and business elite, all gathered to hear the next big thing in home automation. Ready? Greta whispered, adjusting my shawl to better hide the small speaker in my lap. Born ready. I'd let my hair down, applied makeup, and wore a dress I hadn't touched in years. The perfect disguise. They'd expect me to show up in my usual casual clothes, bitter and obvious. Instead, I looked like just another guest. Remember, Greta said, the recordings are set to play through different phones at specific times. Just stay calm and watch it unfold. Mom spotted me first. Her eyes widened in panic. Malia, what are you... Supporting my brother. I smiled sweetly. Isn't that what family does? She grabbed my arm, nails digging in. Don't you dare make a scene. I wouldn't dream of it. Lyle was working the room, charm cranked to maximum. He faltered slightly when he saw me, but recovered quickly. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll take your seats. The presentation started smoothly enough. Lyle hit all his marks, throwing around terms like revolutionary interface and proprietary technology. I waited until he reached the investment pitch before pressing the first button on my phone. A ringtone chimed from somewhere in the crowd. An investor checked his phone, frowned, and played the voicemail on speaker by accident. "Mr. Peterson." Lyle's recorded voice filled the room. "Forget what I told the others. You'll have exclusive rights to the technology. Just wire the money by Friday." Murmurs rippled through the audience. Lyle's smile cracked slightly. "Technical difficulty?" He laughed nervously. "As I was saying..." Another phone rang. This time it was a conversation between him and Dad about the forged documents. 3 more phones went off in quick succession, each playing different damning recordings. "The prototype's delayed again. Just move some numbers around. No one needs to know about the settlement money." Lyle's face had gone from charming to desperate. "These are clearly doctored." "Are they?" A deep voice cut through the chaos. Flynn Tucker stood up from his table. "Because I have documented proof of everything we're hearing." "This is ridiculous," Dad bellowed, standing up. "My son is a visionary." "Your son," Flynn said calmly, "is running a Ponzi scheme with stolen money." The room erupted in whispers. Investors began gathering their things, heading for their exits. Mom was crying quietly into her napkin. "Wait!" Lyle pleaded. "I can explain everything." "Explain this," I said, loud enough to carry. I played the final recording. Him laughing about the accident, about hiding the cocaine, about using my settlement money. The remaining guests fled like rats from a sinking ship. Lyle stood frozen at the podium, his dreams of tech stardom crumbling in real time. "You," he snarled, spotting me. "You did this." "No," I replied. "You did this. I just exposed it." He lunged toward me, but Flynn and 2 other men stepped in his path. "I wouldn't," Flynn warned. "The FBI agents by the door might take issue with that." Sure enough, 2 suited figures were approaching, badges out. "Mr. Hart," one said, "we need to ask you some questions about Nest Edge's financial records." Mom rushed to intervene. "This is all a misunderstanding." "The only misunderstanding," Greta cut in, "was thinking you could get away with it." I watched as the agents led Lyle away, as Dad argued futilely with rapidly departing investors, as Mom's carefully maintained social facade cracked beyond repair. "You've destroyed this family!" she hissed at me. "No, Mom, you destroyed this family the moment you chose him over justice, over me." "I did it because I love him. And I did this because I loved myself enough to fight back." Later, outside in the cool night air, Greta helped me into my car. That was intense. "It's not over," I said, watching Mom and Dad argue with the FBI agents through the window. "They'll try to salvage something." "Let them try." Greta smiled grimly. "Richard's filing the civil suit tomorrow. The criminal charges will follow." My phone buzzed. A text from Juliana. "They're seizing everything at the office. Lyle tried to delete the servers, but IT already had backups. I'm so sorry. I didn't know." I didn't reply. Instead, I started my car and drove away from the country club, leaving behind the wreckage of carefully constructed lies and the family that had chosen comfort over conscience. They'd gambled everything on Lyle's house of cards. Now, they could watch it burn. "All accounts frozen," Richard announced, spreading documents across his desk. "The court granted our emergency petition this morning." "How long until they notice?" I asked. "They already have." He handed me his phone. 27 missed calls from my parents' numbers. Your father tried to withdraw $50,000 in cash an hour ago. The bank denied it. Greta burst into the office, waving her tablet. You need to see this. Lyle just sent an email to all Nest Edge investors. I read it aloud. Recent allegations against our company are the result of a vindictive family member's personal vendetta. We maintain our complete innocence and will pursue legal action against all defamatory claims. Bold move for someone facing federal charges, Richard mused. My phone rang. Mom's number. Against better judgment, I answered on speaker. How could you? She sobbed. They're saying we might lose the house. You might lose more than that. We're your parents. Parents don't steal from their children. We didn't steal. Dad's voice cut in. He must have grabbed the phone. Listen here, young lady. Either you call off these dogs or... Or what? I interrupted. You'll forge more documents? Take more of my money? Leave me in another wreck? Silence. That's what I thought. I hung up. They're scared, Greta observed. Good. Richard's secretary buzzed in. Mr. Benson, the FBI agents are here with Ms. Martinez. Sandra Martinez, the financial crimes investigator Flynn recommended, entered with 2 agents. Her expression was grimly satisfied. We've confirmed everything, she said. The forged documents, the misappropriated settlement funds, the fraudulent investor reports. It's all there. And Lyle? I asked. Trying to flee. We froze his passport an hour ago. She sat down. We need to discuss next steps. The DA is offering a deal. What kind of deal? If your parents cooperate fully and help recover the stolen funds, they might avoid jail time. Lyle, however... My phone buzzed again. A text from Juliana. Lyle's at the office destroying records. He's not alone. I showed the message to the agents. They were out the door in seconds. Well, Richard said after they left, shall we discuss the civil suit? A sharp knock interrupted us. The door flew open, and there stood Lyle, wild-eyed and dishevelled. Security! Greta shouted, but he was already inside. Fix this, he demanded, pointing at me. Call them off. Step back, Richard warned, reaching for his phone. You ruined everything. Lyle's voice cracked. I had it under control. Like you had the car under control? That was different. I was... high? Reckless? Selfish? I was trying to protect you. By leaving me paralyzed? By taking care of you financially. The company would have made millions. The company was a scam, Lyle. Just like everything else about you. He lunged forward, but Greta was faster. She stepped between us, pepper spray raised. Try it, please. Security finally arrived, followed by the FBI agents who'd clearly been tracking him. Lyle Hart, one agent announced, you're under arrest for fraud, embezzlement, and violation of your release conditions. As they led him away in handcuffs, he kept shouting, I'm your brother! Family protects family! No! I called after him. Family tells the truth. Once the chaos settled, Richard handed me a final document. Ready to end this. It was a formal statement detailing everything. The accident, the cover-up, the theft, all of it. Once filed, there would be no going back. They're still your family, Greta said softly. No, I replied, signing my name. They're the people who taught me what family shouldn't be. My phone lit up with a news alert. Tech startup Nest Edge collapses amid fraud allegations. CEO arrested. What now? Greta asked. I looked at the statement I'd just signed, at the years of lies finally exposed to sunlight. Now, we let justice do its job. And your parents? They made their choice 5 years ago in that hospital room. I folded the statement carefully. It's time they lived with it. Outside Richard's office, reporters were already gathering. Soon everyone would know the truth about the accident, the theft, the lies. But for the first time in 5 years, I felt light. Free. They'd thought the wheelchair made me weak. Instead, it had made me unstoppable. The video went viral faster than anyone expected. Someone leaked the security footage from Nest Edge's office. Lyle's meltdown, his arrest, everything. Within hours, it was everywhere. Look at these numbers, Greta said, scrolling through her phone. 2 million views already. The comments are wild. I was more interested in the local news headlines. Family fraud. Tech CEO stole sister's disability settlement. Nest Edge collapse reveals years of financial abuse. Parents helped son steal disabled daughter's future. Your mother's been calling the office non-stop, Richard said, walking in with coffee. Apparently, their country club membership's been revoked. Tragic, I deadpanned. My phone buzzed. A text from Flynn. Check your email. You'll want to see this. The email contained internal messages from Nest Edge's development team, dated months ago. They'd known the product was defective, that it could potentially cause house fires. Lyle had buried the reports. Jesus, Greta whispered, reading over my shoulder. He was going to sell these to people? Add it to the pile, Richard said grimly. The DA's office will want to see this. Another buzz, this time from Sandra Martinez. Bank records show cryptocurrency purchases. Your brother's been hiding money. Forward that to Richard, I said. Every penny needs to be traced. The office door burst open. Dad stood there, looking like he'd aged 10 years in a week. Make it stop, he pleaded. Security! Richard called. Wait, I said. Let him speak. Dad slumped into a chair. The partners voted me out this morning. 30 years at the firm, gone. Your mother, she's not handling this well. And we're sorry. Is that what you want to hear? We're sorry. Sorry you did it or sorry you got caught. He buried his face in his hands. We were trying to protect him. By sacrificing me? He's your brother. Was my brother. Now he's just another criminal who thought he was above the law. Please, Dad begged. We'll lose everything, like I lost my ability to walk, my independence, my trust fund. We can make it right. No, I cut him off. You can't, but the courts can. Security finally arrived. As they escorted him out, he turned back. We're still your parents. No, you're just the people who taught me what justice looks like. After he left, Greta showed me another headline. Nest Edge investors file class action lawsuit. They're finished, she said softly. They were finished the moment they chose him over the truth. My phone rang. Juliana's number. I answered on speaker. The FBI found everything, she said quickly. Hidden accounts, fake contracts, even the original accident report Lyle buried. He told me to destroy it all, but I couldn't. Thank you, I said. I'm so sorry, Malia. I should have seen it sooner. We all see what we want to see, until we can't anymore. After she hung up, Richard handed me a final document. The house goes up for auction next week. Your parents have 72 hours to vacate. Where will they go? Greta asked. Not my problem anymore. My phone buzzed one last time, a news alert. Former tech CEO faces additional charges, attempted evidence destruction, witness intimidation. You know what's funny? I said, looking at Lyle's mugshot. He always said I was the family burden. Turns out I was the only one strong enough to carry the truth. Greta squeezed my shoulder. What now? Now? I looked at the pile of evidence we'd gathered, at the years of lies finally exposed. Now, we let karma do its job. Outside, reporters were still camped on the sidewalk. They called out questions as we left. Malia, how does it feel to take down your own family? Any comment on your brother's arrest? What about your parents? I stopped my wheelchair at the top of the ramp. My only comment is this. The truth doesn't care about family loyalty. It just is. Later that night, watching the evening news cover Lyle's perp walk, I felt no satisfaction, no joy. Just a quiet certainty that justice, like karma, moves at its own pace. They'd spent years building their house of lies. Now they could watch it burn from the outside, just like I had. The difference was, I'd learned to rise from ashes. They never would. My new apartment overlooks the park where Lyle and I used to play as kids. The irony isn't lost on me as I watch the morning news cover his sentencing. Breaking news. Former tech CEO sentenced to 15 years for fraud, embezzlement, and financial abuse. The doorbell rings. Greta walks in with coffee and a thick manila envelope. Morning, warrior. Ready for this? Hit me. She spreads out the contents. Final settlement papers, restitution orders, asset seizure documents. They recovered most of it. The crypto accounts Flynn traced, the offshore transfers, even the cash Lyle had stashed in that storage unit. And my parents? Moved in with your aunt. The house sale barely covered their legal fees. She pauses. They're asking to see you. No. My phone buzzes. Juliana's email. Found more hidden accounts. Sending details to Sandra. Also, I'm sorry for everything. You deserved better. Delete. Richard called. Greta continues. The civil suit is settled. Full restitution plus damages. Good. That's not all. She pulls out a newspaper. Look who made the front page. The headline reads, Justice Served. How one woman exposed a web of family fraud. Below it, a quote from Flynn. She showed us that disability doesn't mean inability. It means finding different ways to fight. Speaking of fighting, Greta says, the disability advocacy group wants you to speak at their conference. About what? Financial abuse of disabled individuals. Apparently your case has inspired others to come forward. My phone rings. Mom's number. I silence it. They won't stop trying. Greta warns. Neither will I. A knock at the door. Sandra Martinez enters with more files. Good news. We found the original accident report. The officer who buried it is under investigation. Better late than never. There's more. She sits down. Your brother's cocaine dealer came forward. Wants to make a deal. Says he can prove Lyle was a regular customer before the accident. Add it to the pile. You don't seem surprised. Nothing surprises me anymore. My phone lights up with a text from Flynn. Board meeting today. Guess whose company just got approved for Series A funding? I smile, remembering our conversation last week. After everything settled, Flynn had approached me about joining his investment firm as a fraud prevention consultant. Your experience, he'd said, is worth more than any MBA. Earth to Malia. Greta waves her hand. Where'd you go? Just thinking about karma. Speaking of, she shows me her tablet. Your parents' statement just hit social media. I read it aloud. We failed as parents. We chose the wrong child to protect. We're sorry. Too little. Too late, Sandra comments. Way too late. Another knock. Richard joins our growing meeting. The trust is established. Your settlement money, plus damages, all protected. No one can touch it without your explicit consent. Unlike last time, Greta adds. My phone buzzes again, an unknown number. The voice message plays. Sis, it's me, from prison. I'm sorry, for everything. The accident, the money, the lies. You were right. About all of it. Delete. You okay? Greta asks softly. I wheel to the window, looking at that park. 2 kids are playing on the swings where Lyle and I once laughed together, before greed and lies poisoned everything. You know what I realized? I turn back to them. They thought the wheelchair made me weak, that I'd stay quiet, stay grateful, stay controlled. They never understood that sometimes the strongest person in the room is the one they underestimate. Sandra nods. What now? Now, I pick up Flynn's contract offer. Now I help others fight back, because somewhere out there, another family is stealing another person's future, and they need to know that karma has wheels. Greta raises her coffee. To karma on wheels. Everyone laughs, but we all know it's true. The wheelchair they saw as my weakness became my strength. The silence they mistook for acceptance became their downfall. My phone lights up one last time, a message from that same park where everything began, where a teenage boy once promised to always protect his sister, right before he broke that promise in every way possible. Delete. Some promises aren't meant to be kept. Some families aren't meant to stay whole. And some justice comes not with a bang, but with the quiet determination of someone they never thought would fight back. They spent years pretending I was invisible. So, I made sure when I stood, the world saw everything. And now? Now I help others stand too, because karma might have wheels, but justice has my voice.